Hello everyone, this is Siddhartha from Vishnu Institute of Technology. Today I am here to share my knowledge on creating an application and also some important topics in JavaScript. First of all, I would like to tell about what is Node.js. Node.js is a runtime environment for writing server-side JavaScript applications, and Node.js is open source and completely free. It can be downloaded from the web browsers like Chrome, Firefox, etc. It is used by thousands of developers around the world, and it is used to build backend services that communicate with client side applications. By using Node.js, we can develop many applications, and we can also connect with the database to store the data. And for developing some web applications, we require some packages and modules that can be imported and installed from npm package. Like it has syntax like npm install and the package name. By using that, we can download the necessary packages and we can successfully run the web application. And some important topics like closures and promises, callback functions, and async await, and some other topics. By using these topics today, I want to develop a simple application like to-do list. Let me tell about what is meant by a closure. A closure is a feature in the JavaScript where an inner function has access to the outer function variables like a scope. This closure has three scope chains, like it has own scope in its own scope and outer scope and also global variable. When come to when coming to own scope, that means the variables defined between its curly brackets, which means only defined in the particular function only. And coming to the outer scope or parent, it will be defined only in the functions variable. Coming to the another one, that is a global variable, it can be defined globally. Let us see the example for closure. Here is the example for closure. Here I have created a function called create counter, and this function defines a private variable called count and initializes it to 0. It returns an object with three methods like increment and decrement and get value. Increment increases the value count by 1 and returns the new value. Decrement decreases the value of count by 1 and returns the new value. Get value returns the current value of the count without modifying it. It may be increment or decrement. And the important part here is that count is not directly accessible from outside the create counter function. It is private so that it can be inside the function only. And using the counter object here, each time it increases the count value by 1. Firstly, count value becomes 1 when it is incremented, and again it was incremented here, so that it will be incremented from 1 to 2 whenever the function called decrement object, whenever the method called decrement, so it will be decremented by 1, and it called get value, so it returns the current value of the counter, so it gives value 1. Here the methods returned by create counter from a closure, allowing them to access the count variable even after the create counter function has finished executing. This is how it works. So let us run to get the output. Node space filename.js. Here you can see this output as 1211, as initially it was value 0, first incremented, it was incremented to 1, and then 2, and again it was decremented, so it again goes to 1, and get value, it gives the current value of the input. Let us see how the callback works. What is meant by a callback? A callback is a function executed after another function completes. So here you can see this function named fetch data, and it uses the set timeout function to simulate a delay of 1 second before fetching the data. So the data is passed to the callback function after the timeout period. Here you can see this another function, process data. This is the callback function that is passed to fetch data. When fetch data finishes its task after 1 second, it calls process data and provides the fetched data as an argument. The process data function simply logs the data to the console with the message processing. So after the calling fetch data of process data, the fetch data function is called with process data as the argument. When the fetch data is executed, it waits for 1 second before the calling of the process data with the fetch data. So here you can see this first it starts the fetch data, and after 1 second it executes the process data function with the argument as fetch data. So then it will give the output as console.log. We are give it gives output as the processing, and what the data is present in the above function, that is fetch data, it will be printed as processing fetch data. So let us run this code, node space callback.js. Yeah, here you have you can here you can see this output processing fetch data, how a callback works. And let us go to the another topic, that is promises. Promises manage asynchronous operations with resolve and reject, and in JavaScript to handle asynchronous operations, providing a more modern and structured approach compared to callbacks. Promises are used. Here you can see this code. I have created a function called fetch data. In this fetch data function, it returns a promise. A promise is an object that represents the completion or failure of a asynchronous operation. The promises take a function as an argument which contain two parameters like resolve and reject. Resolve is called when the asynchronous operation completes successfully. Reject is called when the asynchronous operation fails. When there is an error in while fetching the data, it gives the reject. So inside the set timeout, if success is true, the resolve function is called with the string data fetched successfully, or else then it it will be called with the string called fail to fetch data. So here you can see this, I have calling the function called fetch data. It can be, we are using uh, two methods like then and catch to handle the result. Dot then of data, it gives it can be executed if the promise is resolved. It means operation, when the operation is successful, it gives the output like data fetched successfully. When there is an error while fetching the data or the operation fails, it will be handled by the catch. So it will give the error, and it will give output as failed to fetch data. The benefits of using promises is better for error handling and chaining. Chaining means promises can be chained using multiple then calls, which makes it easier to handle the sequence of asynchronous operations and avoid callback hell. Promises help avoid the callback hell problem by providing cleaner and more readable code. It can be more simpler to run the code. Let us run the code here, like node space promises.js. Here you can see this output as data fetched successfully. So the asynchronous operation is succeeded. We got output as data fetched successfully. And we have another topic called async await.js. Async await. Let me explain this. It makes working with promises easier to read and write. The async and await is used to handle asynchronous operations in a more synchronous like manner, like making the code easier to read and understand also. And let me explain this concept using this code. Here I have created a function called fetch data. This function returns a promise that resolves after 1 second, same as the promises. And if the success variable is true, it gives the message like data fitted successfully, or else it will give the message like fail to fetch data using resolve and reject. Here you can see this another function I have created using async function fetch and process data. This function is async, which means automatically returns a promise and allows the user of await inside the you can see this inside this function the await keyword is used here with fetch data to pause the execution until the promise is resolved or rejected. If the promise is resolved, it returns the value as data fetched successfully, or else it will be rejected. So this will throws an error like uh, fail to fetch data. Here we are using like try catch block. This block is used to handle the errors. So if an error occurs during the execution of the fetch data function, the catch block catches the error and logs it, and calling the fetch and process data to return the output. And let us run this code node async await.js. Oh, yeah, data fetched successfully. When the code gets run successfully and when there is no error, then it will be it will gives the output as data fetched successfully. If an error is occurred while executing this code, then it will gives an error like fail to fetch data and also along with the error. Let's see how I have created an application using these concepts, mainly closure concept. That application is to-do list. To-do list is an application to add the works and mark as completed or remove the works which have uh, completed, and it is like a diary of an user and like what the works should be done by today at this particular time, like that. So I have used a closure concept here. Let me explain how I have done this code. Here I have created a function called create to do list, which is an outer function that defines a private variable called to-dos, which is an array to store the to-do items. Inside this create to-do list, We have used multiple functions like add, mark complete, remove, get pending, get completed, and display to dos are defined. These are inner functions that have access to the to dos array even after the create to do list function has returned. Let's see the add method. Add function. This function adds the task, which means appends a variable or a string to the to dos list and mark as completed. For that particular task, we are giving that the task was completed successfully. So it marks as completed equals to true, which means when we return completed task, it will give us the only completed task, which means which have completed equals to true. And remove is used to delete an variable or an task from the to dos list. And get pending, whether uh, the remaining tasks that are not marked as complete are returned using get pending function. Get completed, it returns the tasks which are marked completed as true. And display to this, it will display the list of tasks which are completed and also not completed except the removed ones. Here I have returning, add, mark complete, remove, get pending, get completed, and display to dos. Here I have written like script is running for whether the code is running successfully or not. I have testing the functionality of the create to do list function by adding some tasks like book appointment and complete project and shopping. I have marked complete as the task was completed, so I have marked as a complete project to be true. So, and I also removed the shopping task from my to do list. Whenever I want to get the all the tasks, so I have used display to dos function. It will return the task which I have to be completed or completed. These are the pending tasks which I have to be completed. Completed task which done I have completed earlier. So let's run this code. Node space index dot js. You can see this. These are the tasks like book appointment and complete project. I have completed project, so it shows the mark X. So it was completed. And I have a pending task like book appointment, and I have completed a complete project task. You may have doubt with where I have used closure, as the data is like to do array is private, so meaning only the return methods can modify or access it. This prevents external changes. So I have used closures, which allows the creation of the independent to-dos list by calling create to-do list multiple times. So for that purpose, I have used create closures. This contains its return methods like add, mark complete, remove, get completed, get pending, display to-dos, etc. from the closure around the to-dos variable, allowing them to read and update it. This is how I have created a to-do application using JavaScript and its concepts. Thank you.